it up, pump it up.
Trae.
Come on, come on.
With Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
It's the day with Trae.
This is the day to gain inspiration, to make a positive change in the nation. We're inviting you to partake in conversation, to raise your vibration. It's the day that we will all celebrate all of our peeps that make this thing elevate. Watch the negative fade away, cause it's the day with Trae.
Happy Thursday, y'all. It's the day with Trae. I'm your host, Deontay Damper, stepping in for Trae this week. Now, before we begin, remember to like, share, and subscribe to Converge Media. You will learn more about the day with Trae, Back to Besa, Seattle News and Brews, We Live in Color, and more. Go to whereweconverge.com to learn more. We have an amazing show on this pre-Friday. We have the amazing Kelly Guy, who is the newest OLS Outreach Coordinator. We will be talking with Bill 206. We'll be talking to her more about what OLS has to offer and the things that Miss Kelly has in store. She already has a legacy in community. We need to hear more, not only about the legacy of Bill, but her legacy as well. We also have the amazing Pastor Braxton, who is the pastor of New Beginnings Church. We'll be asking him more questions about Sounds of Black Folks that's coming to the Paramount. You do not want to miss this, okay? Now to start, I don't know how to intro a legacy community person. This lady is she wears one of the crowns in the 206, and I'm so happy to be working with her with Build. But here, I get to interview her, Miss Kelly Guy.
Well, thank you, Deontay. I am stepping in some big shoes as the LOS outreach specialist.
Yes.
Stepping into Deontay's shoes, so thank you for having me.
Well,
today.
hey, my shoes, your shoes different. She's Jordan. I'm Pro Wayne, but you are. But Kelly, even before we get into the Build work, can you tell us, let community know who you are?
Well, I've been working in and for the community for the last 35 years. I don't want to age myself. Started in Seattle Parks and Recreation, worked at Casey Family Program doing foster care reform. Currently at Providence Swedish as their Senior Director of Community Health and Investment and Partnerships, and also with OLS as an outreach specialist. So always working on behalf of the community, youth, and families.
Yeah. And it's just a legacy, and now doing the Office of Labor Standards. Can you tell us a little bit more about?
Sure. So I stepped into this position as outreach specialist, really to talk about arts and entertainment and to work with those folks in that industry on independent contracts and how to build an independent contract. If they need templates, we have this at Build in our arsenal of resources, but also how to support them as artists. They could be spoken word artists, they could be muralists, anybody who is developing or need an independent contract. That's what we're here for. And so the Office of Labor Standards wants to ensure that they're getting paid right, that they know their rights as artists, or in some cases as workers, so fair standard labors, fair wages, that type of thing.
Yeah, we were talking to Trae Franklin a couple of days ago, and one of the things that he was saying during one of our breaks was just like, with this, you would just be the best messenger for outreach within this space because you protect folks. And
it's all about protecting them as an artist, protecting their rights, their property. Is it trademarked? Is somebody's doing a spoken word, making sure it's not being recorded and used in some other avenue where they're not getting paid or recognized for it. If they're artists, if they're drawings on city buildings, what happens to that once that's gone? If it's a piece of art that's installed, does the city have a right to sell it, or whoever is contracting you after its use? Or do you have that right to, have it first returned to you first before that option? Some of those artists don't know about those types of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that you are the amazing messenger for that. Can you tell community about some of the outreaching that you have done for this?
Yeah, so we did May Day just recently.
With Star, right?
With Star. She is our labor contract liaison with the city of Seattle. We hit District 2. Happened to be in Columbia City. So we talked really about them was workers in the food industry or retail industry, knowing their rights, fair wages, that type of thing, handing out flyers, pamphlets, posters to put in the back in their break rooms, lobby rooms, that type of thing, so employees have access to that. And also so employers know their rights in employing people. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, and I think that it's a really important thing because I think, especially with newer people coming into Seattle, right?
Yeah.
Of how eclectic like Seattle music is, and important and essential
Yes.
Seattle music is. Shout out to Kenny G and my uncle Robert Damper. My uncle plays with Kenny G. But how important they talk a lot about like not being protected.
Right.
And I think that this is a great opportunity because most people don't get that access.
Right. No, they don't get that access. We share the resources and the information, and then we link them if they feel they're being, if their rights are not being, I don't want to say violated, but if they are being violated, we link them with investigators through the Office of
Wow.
Labor Standards. We don't actually do the investigation, but we make sure they have the right person.
Okay.
And then they'll take it from there.
Okay, see, and that is so important to know. And one of the other things that I was excited to learn is that you are also branching out into podcasting too.
Yes, for Build.
All right, not for Ash. You sure?
I've only done one podcast for Build, which stands for Brothers United in Leadership Development. It's really an empowerment organization. It first started out for really supporting and empowering brothers of color, but now it's expanded to the community of color. And so, yes, so through them, I've done some podcasts. We'll be starting a newsletter. You can get a hold of me at kelly@build206.com.
Okay.
LinkedIn or Facebook under my name, Kelly Guy. So
See, now that's good, but I need to ask a little bit more about the podcast, right? Can we know who the person you're
Yes.
interviewing?
So my first podcast we taped a couple weeks ago, and I'm not sure when it'll be airing, so that's when you can check our website. But we happened to interview S-Rap, Saran Thompson, who is a transformational speaker and also a hip hop spoken word artist. And so he is recently here from Dallas area. So we talked about kind of the differences in the community of artists. Did he know what has been his experience in developing his own contracts and that type of thing? And he did mention that Seattle has been a very supportive artist community. There's not a lot of competition. People share information with each other. So he's really excited to kind of put his roots down here, him and his wife.
And you putting roots. I mean, you branched out on the podcast. We might need to offer you a
just a little bit.
Yeah, well, I just appreciate the work that you do, Kelly, and you've always been a person that creates space. You know, the brothers of Build. There's many brothers, and you are the queen.
So thank you. Amongst some other queens.
With some other queens, but we just really appreciate you. Before we go, can you do me a favor and look in the camera and let community know where they could be able to find and support you?
Sure. So you can reach me at Kelly Guy, KELLYGUY, either on Facebook or LinkedIn, and also Kelly@build206.com. Thank you.
Well, girl, you did that. I think Kelly's going to try to get the seat, but we don't know. But thank you, Kelly, for
Thank you
coming
for
in
having me.
today. And we'll be back with Pastor Braxton. You are watching The Day with Trae.
Hello, welcome to Elite Insights with Carlos Imani. We're looking to offer an in-depth look at event production industry through the lens of client experiences and joint successes. The podcast will emphasize guest interviews, focusing on client, discussing their fields, and reflecting on their collaboration with Elite Collective. Again, you're with Elite Insights. Carlos Imani here. See you guys in a few.
Looking for laughs? Looking for love? Fast Talking Figaro has got you covered. Toe-tapping melodies, lively staging, and colorful costumes. Don't miss The Barber of Seville, May 4th through 19th at McCaw Hall. Tickets at seattleopera.org.
And we're back with The Day with Trae. So excited to have this next guest here. Pastor Braxton, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
I'm doing blessed. I'm just so happy and honored. You are such a legacy to community. A lot of my friends attend your church.
Okay.
And just appreciative of the spaces that you create.
Okay.
And not only do you do that in church, but you are doing that in community. So the third annual Sounds of Black Folks.
Songs of Black
Songs
Folks.
of Black Folks.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
Well, Songs of Black Folks started in 2022 in the McCall Hall, and last year and this year we're at Paramount, Father's Day night, June the 16th, 7 p.m. And again, we feature the 50-piece orchestra, the 7-piece rhythm section of top African American artists brought in from all over the country, the likes of Ken Burrell, who is the top gospel organist in the country. And then we have a 40-voice choir, some of the best young voices up and down the I-5 corridor from Everett to Lacey. And then we have featured vocalists and soloists like John Stoddart, who is an R&B singer who's got several albums out, and including Our House, Only on Christmas, On the Wings of Love, Faith, Hope, and Love. He is the songwriter who wrote the original score for Lift Every Voice and Sing that we sang the first and second year. He's the one who wrote it. He's a composer, singer, classically trained pianist who is going to be part of the band and one of the featured soloists this year. We also have Brittany Sutton, and Brandy Sutton. She's coming straight from the Metropolitan Opera. She played the coveted role of Clara in Peggy and Bess. Porgy and Bess.
Porgy
yes.
and Bess.
And she's traveled all through Europe and Carnegie Hall and Apollo and all of that. Extraordinary mezzo-soprano voice. And Crystal Akins is coming back with her gospel chops. Last year, she did that phenomenal tribute to Tina Turner.
Yes.
People didn't know she could swing R&B because her ballywick is in gospel. And then some of the emerging local vocalists like Jade June, who is also the music coordinator at New Beginnings Christian Fellowship, and then also Bria Manaway. Oh my God, that girl can soar.
She's a beautiful singer.
And along with that, you're going to have tap dancers, you're going to have spoken word artists, you're going to have rappers. And this year's show in the second half is going to be quite extravagant because we're carrying the sub-theme of Black faith, Black freedom, and Black fashion with a focus on the sometimes extravagant persona and presentation of the African-American artist. You know, we can be quite extra.
Yeah. we can, we create lanes. Sometimes you got to be, we don't stand out, right?
And when you see African people, we believe in wearing all the colors all at once.
Yeah.
And sometimes all the patterns.
Yeah. And Pastor Braxton, what I love too is just like how you are one of those community folks that continue to evolve the conversation of community.
Yeah.
What is Sounds of Blackness? Because people always see you in the pulpit, right?
Yeah.
But to create this other genre, this lane, what does that mean to you?
So, well, when I grew up in Tacoma, born in Boston, but raised in Tacoma, graduated Lincoln High School, went to UPS. My first classroom teacher was when I was 24 years of age in my second year of graduate school. I'd never had a Black person talking to me about the stuff I was learning outside of my church. And so one of my motivations in doing my graduate study and doctorate study in the northeastern parts of the country where I pastored and taught for 12 years until I succeeded Reverend McKinney at Mount Zion in 1998 is to be able to pull west of the Mississippi, north of California, a world-class caliber fine arts production that features African-American talent, the likes of which you never see outside of Atlanta, Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, New York City, because you don't have the demographic here to support it. And so by using a local orchestra, an orchestra of local artists from the Seattle Symphony and Tacoma Symphony and all of that, but then bringing in from other parts of the country, a Black rhythm section, and to take young African-American singers from here in the Puget Sound area and combine them with featured artists, Black soloists from different parts of the country. You take the best of the national talent, combine it with the local talent, and I pull it together under Ramon Bryant Braxton, my own nephew, raised in Tacoma, went to Morehouse, Morgan State. And Morgan State was the top African-American HBCU music program in the country.
Yes.
Not the Morehouse Glee Club. Morgan State, who's done 4 concerts at the at the White House under the great Nathan Carter. And many of these artists have come through that Morgan State pipeline, like Darren Atwater from last year, like Solomon Howard, who was one of the featured soloists in world-class percussions. These guys have, Brandy has come through Morgan State. Victor Simonson, who was the music director for MJ, that was recently here. All these guys have come through Morgan State that generates so much of our celebrated African-American talent nationally. Songs of Black Folk is a celebration of the African music tradition that jumped the Atlantic via the slave ship, settled into the daily lives of a Black people existing in an anti-Black white supremacist society where our music has become the soundtrack of our existence. I do believe if you lost every book on African American history and culture and just gathered up the lyrics of our songs, you could reconstruct our history.
Absolutely.
And to show how that African music tradition over our 400-year odyssey for freedom and survival and dignity and hope and joy has evolved into various genres of music, from field songs to spirituals to blues to jazz to gospel to R&B to funk to rock and roll, country western, hip hop, and even spoken word.
Yeah.
And all of them are songs of resistance and hope.
Absolutely. You know what, Pastor Braxton, now you sound, from what you're saying, like a lot of the stuff, you seem very musically inclined yourself.
My mother was a 50-year church musician.
Okay, so who are some of your favorite artists that you liked when you were growing up?
Growing up, I liked Diana Ross and the Supremes because I could sing all her songs before my voice changed.
Okay.
Of course, I liked James Brown, but I also liked Sammy Davis Jr. Because I liked his Mr. Bojangles and Candyman. I liked. I was always fascinated with Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes because everybody had raspy voices. And, Teddy Pendergrass started with Harold Melvin.
Well, he replaced Harold, didn't he?
Absolutely. And, of course, when you get into Earth, Wind, and Fire and the African, Afro-Brazilian, Afro-Caribbean, African-American themes that they fuse together so dynamically. And I like Ray Charles, who took the full orchestra and did country western. All these people were in my mother's music collection that when I was on restriction, before they had timeout for 15 minutes, you were on restriction for a week or a month.
Yeah.
And couldn't go outside. So the only thing I could do when I was inside is rummage through my mother's music collection, which was sacred and secular. And all that stuff just kind of, I marinated in it over the year, and now it bleeds through, it comes out in my preaching and all that. Because most people are more familiar with the lyrics of the songs of back in their day than they are with the hymns in the hymn book. And so it's kind of a collage. I've been exposed to so much music. I really don't have a single favorite, although I will have to say Luther.
Okay.
Luther.
Big Luther. I'm sorry, Big Luther or Little Luther? And yes, there is a difference.
I like Big Luther and Big Aretha.
Oh, okay. That works. That works. I love me some Luther.
Big Luther, big Aretha, and Big Jennifer Holiday.
Okay. That works for me.
Somehow another big.
Yeah.
Seems better.
Yeah, but I love Luther, and I appreciate I just wanted to ask that question too, because you just seem like such a music connoisseur too, and creating this lane for community folks. Now, before we get out of here, I do have to ask you some questions too.
Yeah.
Well, how is New Beginnings? Is there anything coming up that community needs to know?
Well, first of all, let me say, Songs of Black Folk, one word, songsofblackfolk.org. You can go to the website, see everything on our history, our artists, how to purchase tickets, and how to buy one of our limited edition 500 Songs of Black Folk album that we produced.
Okay, album.
We're doing 500 limited edition, and you want the cover, but trust me, songsofblackfolk.org, songsofblackfolk.org. New Beginnings is doing good. I think coming out of COVID, where so many churches have struggled to get people to come back, our members have come back. So we have a very healthy crowd coming back. Our numbers are not what they were before COVID because there's a lot of people who've gotten comfortable worshiping remotely. Between the remote, between the online and the in-service, we're doing more than we were doing before. Financially, we're doing better than we were before. And so we're healthy. We've always been an intergenerational congregation. We, like everybody else, is trying to figure out, how does the church deliver the goods in terms of ministry services, addressing the needs of the total person in the post-pandemic world, where we're still figuring out what the new normal is in terms of people's attendance habits, consumer habits, people's accessibility and availability. It's a different world from what it was 4 years ago.
Yeah. And I think I love for you that you were so transparent in that statement, because it's like, and we still need to continue to reach out or outreach or statewide, right? You know, I have a great church home myself, and I had to get myself out of the Zoom stuff and still figure out ways that I could still be engaged.
People like to roll over, log on, click off, and then roll back over. And yes, you can access the service remotely. But what you can't do online is build relationships. And that's the majority of the blessing in being part of a congregation or any community where you're a part of something larger than yourself, is to just be there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like going to the theater.
Mm-hmm.
You can watch it online, but there's no replacing being there in the theater.
Absolutely. So before we get out of here, I do want you to give one more plug for Sounds of Black Folks. Just look in that camera, let them know where they can find and get all the information.
Songsofblackfolk.org. Go online and visit our beautiful website to give you all the information on this year's performers, how you can get tickets, how you can sponsor or donate to Songs of Black Folks, where you can get merchandise, our t-shirts, our caps, our polo shirts, and all of that. And so songsofblackfolk.org, songsofblackfolk.org, songsofblackfolk.org.
I know that's right. Thank you so much, Pastor. I appreciate you. And we'll be right back with The Day with Trae.
Let's start the show.
Africatown Plaza is our latest affordable housing development project. It's 126 units of affordable housing over community commercial space.
It's the first time in my career, and I've been doing this for 10 years, that I was able to design for people who look like me.
Africatown Plaza is a beacon of hope.
Africatown Plaza is a love letter to the community.
I just want to thank my very special guest, Kelly Guy and Pastor Braxton today for coming in. But I do have something for y'all tonight, because it's not the last time you're going to see me today on Converge. Tonight, 8 p.m., We Live in Color Season 2, Episode 2. I have the amazing Pastor Jamel Witherspoon. Jamel Witherspoon will talk about the obstacles that he's had to overcome. We talk about church hurt, and we talk about rising above and beyond with community. You don't want to miss it on We Live in Color. But I will say good day to y'all today on The Day with Trae, and see you tomorrow. Walk with love.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.